That's all that matters, right? All right, let's start this thing off with one thing I like about OTAs is you begin to all the storylines that unfolded through the offseason, you begin to one by one get to kind of put them to bed or figure out, okay, is there really something here? Okay. Um, Before we dive into the Jaden Reed situation, let's talk about the players who were not in attendance today. Okay. And there may be more than this, but the three that I was concerned about were obviously Jair Alexander, who was not here today. It's not a huge surprise. I kind of think it's good news that he wasn't there today. And let me explain what I mean by that. When he does show up, he's going to be kind of forcing the Packers' hand a little bit. They're going to want him to not participate. Obviously, we've talked about this ad nauseum, and I'll try to be quick. If he gets hurt while he's in the facility, then they're going to be on the hook. Let's say he gets hurt and he's out for the entire year. They're going to be on the hook for that entire salary. Yeah. So what they're trying to do is get that contract restructured to where if something does happen, they're not going to be on the hook for as much money, right, in terms of guaranteed all that. It would be more of an incentive-based type thing. Now, Matt Schneidman said he could show up as early as the mandatory minicamp in June. So that's why I'm like, okay, this to me, and we'll go around the horn with it, it kind of feels like Jair's giving the Packers a little bit of space, like, hey, let's work this contract out before I come in and it gets – because when he shows up, the rubber's going to meet the road. They got to make a decision now because they can't keep him out of the facility. I mean, they can keep him out of the facility, I guess, but they've got to pay him that workout bonus, right? And obviously, Goody has been very vocal. If he's not going to be on the team, they want compensation. And if he is going to be on the team, they want it at a different, they want to do something that makes sense for both parties, I guess. That's basically what Goody is kind of quoted as saying. So am I seeing it different than you guys? Let's start with you, Jacob. Do you kind of see it the same way? To me, it feels like it's good news he didn't come in and force their hand right off the bat.
Yeah, I would agree with that summarization. Let me ask a question. It might be a stupid one. Are they able to just waive the requirement for him to come in for the workout bonus and just give it to him and say, hey, bro, we appreciate you wanting to come in. Give us, like you said, maybe a few more weeks to buffer this out. In the meantime, we don't want to risk and say it in a way where it's like, hey, John, we don't want to risk you coming in here and getting hurt because we want you in our future. We want to just have a little more time to make sure that we've got all our T's crossed and I's dotted. So if you'll accept this money, we're not trying to raw dog here or nothing like that. We actually want to give you a chance to come in here. And
I love Jacob's lingo, man.
and just honestly try to be as respectful with it, but at the same time covering your rear end, because if God forbid something were to happen and you like you said, man, if he gets twist that ankle, twist the knee wrong, and all of a sudden we don't have Ja for 17 more games, 18 more weeks, whatever you want to say. That's going to be devastating, especially if he gets that money out of there.
I think that's what their goal was with offering him the restructured deal, and it's up to him to sign it. You know what I mean? Like that was their step in that direction. I'm holding on to hope. I agree with what Clayton said, like the fact that he's not there and he's not holding their feet to the fire right away from day one is probably a good sign that maybe that, there's a possibility that he just, signs the rework deal and plays this year. I think Ja's definitely the type of guy that if he's going to come into the facility, it's going to be to work and, be focused on playing football. And until they sort this out, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not near the facility, for the time being. We talk about June workouts, mandatory workouts. I mean, what is that? 2.5 weeks? Are we talking like, 3, not even 3 weeks from now? So it sounds further away than it really is. So a lot can change in a very little bit of time here. We just got to stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, right. And we'll hold whoever marked that Greg Rice comment. We'll hold that for the Edgerrin Cooper segment because I'm eager to see who that is as well. Go ahead, Emilio. Sorry.
No. I was just all I was going to say is, what is him showing up now going to do? Besides show us that, he's into it, I really don't need him out there getting the snaps. It's not like he needs the reps right this second. And like he did before, he was, sticking to his own workout plan because he doesn't need to be there for, hey, this is how we're going to kind of run the practice. This is what you're going to do in your sprints. When you go to your team drills, this is what you're going to do and stuff like that. So, I think we'll be good for a couple of weeks until we really want to see him in there.
And hearing Mark Tauscher talk about this, which obviously it's amazing how many fans want to disagree with Tauscher on stuff. And it's like the dude was a player rep. He played he played in the NFL, and he was a player rep for the year. I think he understands how these things operate, right? But he was kind of making it sound like they can't prevent him from coming in. They can limit on the physical activity, but he's under contract, so he can somewhat kind of force the envelope a little bit. Now, how far does he want to go? And at that point, maybe the team does have some kind of back door that they can use and be like, hey, this is detrimental to the team. Stay away. And again, this is just all speculation. Nobody's saying the team's going to do this. Nobody's saying Ja is trying to do that. To me, it feels like the alternative, like Ja is trying to do the right thing. And hey, let's get this thing worked out, until I come in, before I come in. So, yeah, and I'm with whoever said it in the chat there. I don't think he's going to turn around. I think it was Christian. I don't think he's going to turn down $500K or whatever the bonus is, right? If they say, hey, we'll pay you, just kind of hang loose for a minute. So, all right. So the next player that was missing was Elton Jenkins. Okay. This one I'm more concerned about than Jair. And the reason being is, if it were me, I would try to meet in the middle there with Elton and give him a little more guaranteed money rather than just play hardball and go, no, we're not giving you another dime. And there's a lot riding on him playing center. We kind of ignored it this off. We've ignored it the last 3 off seasons where I was looking up, and you guys know if you watch the show or listen to the pod, I'm going, man, Josh Myers ain't it. We need to find the center of the future. It's a tier 2 position on my chart. I know many people disagree with that. It sounds like the NFL sees guard position is more important than center, and I just don't see it that way. I see center way more important than guard, personally. But with that being said, Elton Jenkins not in-house. It's obviously it's a contractual thing, but and it is just OTAs. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but that's the one that ruffles me a little bit. Like, oh man, we need to get him in there because you want to start creating that unity. You know what I mean? Like that unity across the offensive line. I think that could be a real problem. I don't know, Emilio, what do you think, man? Are you concerned about Elton not being here? Or do you think, hey, Clayton, chill out? We ain't even a mandatory.
I'm still 2 weeks out on Elton too, man. I give him time to work the contract. It's not like it's going to crush him to not get those couple reps, extra 100 or so reps, whatever it is. Obviously, I'd love for him to be there, but at this very second, no, I'm more concerned with, getting it squared away so that he can come in ready to play. And I think that, he wants to be here. He wants to play. He just wants to make sure he gets his funds because, like you said, coming on 30, you got to get that squared away before you commit to moving inside, potentially taking less money and all that. But I'm not too worried right this second.
Chris the Casual In says Elton knows he's got major leverage. Major. I agree. And I know some people would say that's dirty pool, but hey, it's a business, when they're depending on you moving to center, you've got some leverage, and the reality is he's approaching 30 and this is his last bite at the apple, most likely, in terms of if history, kind of dictates what's going to happen here. So, Jacob, what do you think, man? You worried about Elton or no?
Yes, I am, just because of the fact that he is supposed to be one of the, if not the major leader on that offensive line, just his types of seniority, of him being able to play multiple positions, him being a early round draft pick, being kind of a staple in the community. It's troublesome, but I don't know if it's necessarily as big of a deal like Tim and Amelia highlighted. It's early. I think this is more of a bargaining chip than anything. And again, the leverage is there. It's true. He's got the upper hand. He's got the hand. And I understand what he's done, because if I'm in his shoes, you draft me and I'm a plug and play guard. Then you kick me out to tackle when you need to. You restructure contracts. I agree to play for this. Then you kick me back to guard. Then you say you want to throw me into center. And if I'm him, I'm just looking at, hey, those salaries are all different for as far as what the average salary for a starting left tackle is, a starting guard, starting center. And you're getting up to be, around 30. You start thinking about longevity. And so I understand. I think out of all of them, I think I understand maybe Elton's plight a little more than the rest, but I'm still hopeful that we're going to get that squared away.
Yeah, Ed Madden in the chat says, I don't think they'll play hardball with Elton. I think they're working out the contract, takes time. I hope you're right, and I can see that playing out that way too, Tim. But are you concerned at all, man?
A little bit. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. I agree with Jacob's point, and it is true. I mean, Big E's got a little bit of leverage here, and I think what Ed Madden's saying there is true. I don't think the Packers are going to try and play too much hardball. This might drag out a little longer than any of us would like, but I think they'll get something worked out. I really do.
And the other player that I was a little concerned about, which it kind of got put to bed the other day when Matt had mentioned he's already there, is Romeo Dobbs. So it sounds like Rome has been there. He's helping Matthew Golden. He's participating in everything. Although I didn't see his name mentioned much today, but it sounds like he is there and participating.
I just caught the ball.
Good to go there. So that's great news. So again, just want to kind of give an update. Those are the people that are missing to the best of my knowledge. I don't think there's anyone else. Obviously, that doesn't include anyone who may be banged up with injuries or anything like that. But again, just going to keep our ear to the streets there when it comes to Elton Jenkins and Jair Alexander. And again, OTA, when is mandatory minicamp? When is that coming up?
June 10th, I believe.
Okay.
It should be
Nice.
popping up on the ticker here on the